Hey, you guys, welcome back to Chalk Block, the world's sexiest DFS show for now. This is Bo McBrayer, of course, joined as always by Scott Simpson, nimble with numbers himself. This is a Nimble DFS production. Check us out on YouTube if you're not already. Go over to the subscribe button and smash it. Take the little bell and jingle it for notifications every time we go live, every time we drop something, not just something on the floor. You'll be notified. This is week 9, Scott. Week 9. We're dead even in the Clash of the Beards and Bellies, and you won 2 in a row. That's officially a winning streak. It has happened before.
It's my first ever winning streak when it mattered, though, and that's when we're chasing each other when it's dead even. I can come within tying you compared to last year when I was just getting bludgeoned ridiculously.
I mean, you hate to see it, but it's kind of cool that it is competitive this year. I believe last week was the largest margin of victory so far this year. You had one of the best lineups we've had in the Clash over the last 2 years. Round of applause, dude. Tip of the cap. That was a hell of a lineup. Would have done pretty well in most tournaments, most contests, and it wasn't really a week where you had a lot of guys that were obviously going to go off, but a lot of guys did go off, and a lot of them came out of left field to have massive games. It was a very high-scoring week last week, and apparently I didn't find any of them in that lineup.
No, you know what? I have to say, though, putting the combination together against you has been very tricky because I'll be on good plays, and then you'll snatch them away by either rostering them or leveraging them against me. And so I was actually shocked that I had won, and I'm very humbled because you are such a good head-to-head player. And I got my ass kicked so many times last year that I'm really excited to kind of maybe have a chance to go ahead of you for the first time, except for the first week, which doesn't really count week 1, but this is great, man. I'm really excited, and I do have to say, you helped me win money last week. You are on to our guy Tyler Johnson over there in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense, replacing Antonio Brown, and I was losing my $100 double up by 1.5 points until the last couple plays of the game. Tom Brady hit him on a little out route. It was 11 yards, 12 yards. Cha-ching, put me in the money, helped me win $200. So I gotta say,
nice little $3,100 piece there.
Bo McBig Time peeped me to that. This guy's got gems everywhere. So I'm just saying, I beat him last week, but I was very.
You could have also been playing Jamal Agnew because that was one of my favorite cash plays at 3,700, and of course, it's, 15.6 on that one for a nice 5 max.
I played him in a lot of my GPP lineups. It didn't get me, millions of dollars, but it did put me into the money in lots of tournaments. Having him and Tyler Johnson as my pay down options. So I got to shout out to Bo. And then also, if you haven't been paying attention, for Ball Blast, Bo picks the showdown captains. Have you picked the 8? 6 of the 8? Have you picked the correct captain so far for the Thursday night? Some absurd number like that.
We are crushing it. I do the primetime games for Showdown Slate, and I've 6 straight primetime games. My top captain's pick, the guy that I'm putting in most of my captain spots, has scored a touchdown in 6 straight primetime games. And so we are definitely winning money with that winning streak. If your captain spot scores a touchdown or more than 1 touchdown in a game, especially on a 1-game slate, you're sitting pretty good. And last night or the other night, I was on 3 guys in particular, and all 3 of them scored, and it was a nice little payoff. I ended up going, I think, five times my money on just playing around with it. And one of my best lineups was actually a Nyheim Hines captain spot that I just kind of did to spend up on one more extra stud in the flex.
That sounds sexy. I definitely played JT. You were all over JT. You are celebrating your anniversary. I have to say, congratulations, Bo and Christina. 10 years together. Is that true, Bo?
10 years married, 12 years together.
10 years married, 12 years together. And I get like a DM on Instagram from your lovely wife, who says Bo is just yelling JT in the hotel room and fist pumping in circles. And she sent this video. I think it was after JT went on that long touchdown run of you just
78-yarder, yeah.
You just celebrating. And then I think later you had Elijah Moore, Brad, jumping in there. Elijah Moore was a great captain. If you played JT and Elijah Moore like Bo did, you're screaming, and then your wife is basically saying, "Come get your boy, come get him across the country."
We're in the hotel room, and we were in the hotel room at the Cache Creek Casino and Resort, and it was a room that we got there, and my mother-in-law had called in because she wanted to gift us by paying for it in advance and surprising us. So when we got there, the staff was the whole staff at the spa was there when we arrived for our massages and pedicures, and it was really cool because as soon as we walked in the doors, the entire staff of the spa's out in the lobby waiting for us, and they're all there to congratulate us on our 10-year anniversary, and we didn't tell them. So we're like, "How the hell did you know?" And they're like, "Well, your mother-in-law called us and said that she wanted to pay for your whole spa treatment." And then we decided that they just started a new giveaway drive because casinos do a lot of promotional things for time periods. And I guess the day before they had started something called the Season of Giving, where they randomly walk up to people in the casino on the grounds and just give them free stuff. And they decided to give us $150 credit towards our stay. And pretty much we didn't have to pay for anything. And I mean, other than just being good tippers, it was a really, really nice start to the weekend, and we had a great time. But yeah, in the hotel room, I made sure I was up in the room when the game was on, because of course, the first half I was in the men's locker room of the spa, which was deserted because it was a men's locker room at a spa. I was the only guy in there, and they had a giant TV with a couch, and I was just sitting there in my fuzzy robe and watching the game and yelling in there because, of course, Elijah Moore was playing well and JT was playing out of his mind. And I was just having a great time. We went up to the room and checked in, and that was when JT busted the 78-yard touchdown, and then Elijah scored his second touchdown, and I was screaming, "Elijah!" Yeah, so come get your boy. I was pretty hyped. At halftime, I was winning the mini max, and then a couple things happened where I lost by 4 points, but I still did pretty well.
I love to hear it, Bo, because as the resident DFS guru at Nimble W Numbers, you are making money for everybody else. It's good to hear you make some money for yourself. Same at Ball Blast. I mean, you're the man, and it's great to see you cashing because you deserve all the cashes. So let's talk about what we're going to do today. We're going to do what we do every single Saturday night from 10 to around 12. We're going to do the Slate Walk, brought to you by RunTheSims.com. We are, for now, the world's sexiest DFS show, and we're going to jump right in with one of the sexiest DFS show tools that we get to use each week, and that is from Justin Freeman and the good folks over there at Run the Sims. I do have my website up right now, so do go check out nimblewnumbers.com. We got all our content up there. We'll get back to that in a little bit, but I am going to jump into Run the Sims, and what we have pulled up right now, Run the Sims is a DFS tool. It's an lots of different things that happen. What we're looking at right now is their lineup optimizer for week 9. We've got the 11 DraftKings slate pulled up. As you can see on the screen, if you're watching, you've got all of the different games going from left to right across the screen with their totals. The implied colors are there now. I didn't do the implied totals, but we can kind of talk about those as well. Gives you the big picture of the games. We're going to drill down into who we're going to play for each game, whether it's cash, GPP, kind of how we leverage those plays. So let's start with the Vegas Raiders visiting the New York Football Giants, and Daniel Jones and Derek Carr, some of the the best of the best right now, going up against each other. I say that glibly.
Fantasy wise, they are some of the best of the best.
That is exactly right.
You watch them play football, and it's a different story. But we are in the business of fantasy football, and daily fantasy football is even more short term, where it doesn't matter how bad a guy looks. I mean, look at Jalen Hurts. He looks terrible every week, and he somehow comes out of it with 20 or more points every week, except for last week. It just comes down to you can't focus too much on a name, especially in DFS. You have to look at the points per dollar. You have to look at the matchup, break down the simple math of it, and kind of build your lineup based on the numbers rather than the names. And yeah, we all have our favorite guys that we like to mix in a little bit more heavily. But it's at the end of the day, this is a numbers game.
100%. And I have a question about the numbers here. Both of these players are projected closely. Who are you leaning towards quarterback wise? Daniel Jones, Derek Carr, if you had to start one of these, or are you starting any of these guys?
No, I like both of them for tournament play. I like Jones a little bit more for cash because of that rushing floor. And plus, the Raiders' secondary, aside from Casey Hayward, is pretty weak. They struggle against slot receivers. So Daniel Jones and Kadarius Toney is a really nice pairing that I like this week. Toney had a minor thumb injury picked up last week on top of his ankle, but he seems to be fine to play. They don't have much else in the passing game. I mean, Ingram's old stone hands. You have Slayton, who's probably one of the worst players in the NFL. Galladay is questionable because he's always questionable, and he usually trends out by Sunday morning. And it comes down to Daniel Jones playing hero ball, which is mistake prone. Is going to be really a tough sled against this Raiders pass rush. But we don't get dinged too bad for turnovers on DraftKings. We're looking for those big plays. We're looking for rushing yards. Rushing touchdowns with Daniel Jones are always a nice little pick me up. And at 5,600, that's a really nice price.
Here over at runthesims.com. One of the favorite tools that we use every week is the Stack Finder. That kind of puts out different stacks, gives you the price points, give you the projections, give you the price per dollar. Pretty cool tool. Out of these, where are you leaning? Are you leaning the first one? Because that's kind of the only one I think I'm leaning. Hunter Renfrow, Toney, Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller, run back of Toney and Daniel Jones. Any other stacks you might think of in this game?
I like the first one. I think I'd get skinny in this game because I do think it's going to be more of a slower paced game with a lot of running the football. Yes, the quarterbacks do have some upside, but you don't want to get too heavy on this game because it might be the kind of game that moves a little slow. Both of these teams like to establish the run. Both these teams have okay run defenses. It's going to be kind of a slog. It's in New York and in the Meadowlands. It's not like it's in Vegas where you have the indoor setting and the track meet style. And I think the Raiders are going to have to feel their way around moving without Henry Ruggs. They have a couple deep threats in that were behind him on the depth chart, but I think it's going to be Waller that ends up being the main guy again. And then of course Hunter Renfrow is one of the most clutch players in the NFL, and I really like him in cash.
Yeah, I do as well. All right, let's jump to the next game. It's the lowest game on the whole board. It's trending towards gross with PJ Walker as the quarterback. What do you think about the New England Patriots visiting the Carolina Panthers?
I hate it. I like that. I like that Christian McCaffrey's coming back. I don't like that he's coming back at 8,000 already. I wish we had a little bit of more of a price relief because he's probably going to be somewhat limited. He's still Christian McCaffrey, so I'm going to throw a couple darts there just to be safe that I'm not going to miss out on it completely when he does show how good he still is. I mean, people forget how great, truly, above everybody else by a long shot, Christian McCaffrey is in PPR setups. He is literally the best player by 10 points clear every single week when he's healthy. And if his hamstring is healed, then even with a fewer amount of snaps and touches, he's going to put up good numbers. The Patriots aren't as good on defense as everybody expected them to be. It's just this game is gross. I think besides McCaffrey and the Carolina defense, which I really like for cash games because Mac Jones is still a rookie, and I think they're going to be able to make the Patriots one-dimensional where they force Mac Jones to beat them through the air. And because that Carolina run defense is tough. They've bottled up some really good running backs, and Damian Harris he's okay. He's a good player, but I think they stuff him and they force Mac Jones to beat him. And I don't think Mac Jones can beat them.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, not that Run the Sims is the end all be all, but I do love the different tools that they have. One of the things that they have is an optimal rate and optimal level that you're looking at here. Nobody is above 7 in this game. This game does not look like it's going to produce an optimal player. Not that Christian McCaffrey couldn't do it or Damian Harris couldn't do it, but not likely to do it. So like you said, I'm kind of
say if anybody, if it would be like DJ Moore busting off a long catch or something like that. Like PJ Walker is not bad. He's not going to be consistent. He's going to struggle in a lot of spots. But if he finds DJ Moore, we all know what DJ Moore can do in the open field with the ball in his hands. I would say if there's anybody who ends up being optimal in this game, it's going to be a big broken play from one of the studs that eventually get theirs anyway, regardless of how bad the matchup is.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is going to be one of those ugly games. Maybe it gets to 17, 14, 17, 10, maybe even a 12 in there. I don't want this game on my card. So I'm going to leave it off the card and not build any stacks with it. Let's jump to one of my favorite games, one of the games I'm most excited to watch.
The game.
It is Minnesota visiting Baltimore. There's a 50-point total, 49.5, depending on where you're at. And Baltimore's favored by 6 as the home favorite. So let's jump into here. What is your favorite play? How are you addressing this? Are you game stacking? Are you skinny stacking, fat stacking, quad stacking? What are you doing?
I'm playing all these people, all of those top 5 players, top 7 players minus the Minnesota defense. They're all on the board for me. Like if you say Lamar, Mark, Justin, Marquise, Dalvin, Adam, and Tyler Conklin, they're all going to be in my DFS lineups. This game's going to be over 60. It's going to be a 34-31 type game. It's going to be just a back and forth. I love it because both offenses are very talented. Both defenses are very banged up and struggle to cover pass plays. And you don't think about the Baltimore Ravens as a great passing team, but when they're forced to, as in if the Minnesota Vikings get off to a fast start with Jefferson, Thielen, and all those other guys running routes against a pretty tattered secondary, this game's going to shoot out big time. And Lamar Jackson's obviously a very popular play, but I think this is chalk that you can eat pretty confidently because it's not egregious. You have a lot of other good quarterbacks on the slate. The only thing that's making Lamar Jackson chalky is his price. He's $1,000 less than Mahomes or Allen, and he has the same upside as they do. This game is just too ripe for game stacking to ignore. I'm going to have skinny stacks, double stacks, game stacks with five guys in it. I like this game a lot. I want to get a whole lot of it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think one of my favorite stacks or game stack run backs is having Lamar, pairing him up with Hollywood Brown, Mark Andrews as well, and then going Jefferson and Conklin in your flex. It gives you a pay down Conklin at 3K. I know he's pretty popular. It's not a surprise now, but if you're pivoting off of Albert only going up $400, it's not bad at all.
Yeah, and it's not that bad because if your chalk gets busted at 3K, it's not going to kill you. Like no. You're not gonna win the Millie Maker if Conklin throws out 6 points, but you're also not going to lose. You're not going to lose out on the cash if the rest of your lineup looks great.
Yeah. No, and I really do love Marquise Brown and Justin Jefferson. I think they have 2 of the top ceilings in this week. And then I'm not the only one who thinks that. I'm pretty sure my guys over at PFF, if you look at their wide receiver,
huge matchup debate.
So yeah, he's one of the top friends you'll see right off the board. So I'm really excited. Yeah, right here.
I'm gonna say that Adam Thielen is a better pick than what I'm seeing in the optimizers that we're using. Run the Sims and Occupy. They love Jefferson, of course. They like Thielen. I also love Thielen because at points per dollar value at $500 less, I think Thielen's got the same exact. For me, I have him projected for the same amount of points as Jefferson, and at a savings of $500. I don't see any difference between them. If I'm building and I'm trying to fill in a spot and I only have the 6,900, I'm going to take Thielen with confidence because he's going to have, even if he gets covered by Marlon Humphrey a few times, he's going to be able to get open on him. But most of the time he's going to be covered by pretty much a slot receiver that's been a practice squad player until this year, or he's going to be played by Anthony Averett, who we've seen get mossed all year long. Adam Thielen could just have the monster 2 or 3 touchdown game that he's always capable of doing. And you never think about Adam Thielen and upside, but remember last year, both of us were playing that Minnesota stack all the time when they were playing bad defenses because they both go off. You would say, oh, who do you want between Jefferson and Thielen? And the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and we'll get to it later, but it just might be this week's Dak, Amari, and CeeDee Lamb. Yes. We'll talk about that later, though. But when you have that, I would say this: if you're gonna stack the Minnesota kind of pass catchers, this is the only thing I would avoid. I would avoid putting Conklin with Thielen, because my thought would be they're going to be splitting red zone targets if they're in that 20, that green zone, 10 yards in. I don't want them to fight over targets. Justin Jefferson normally not targeted as much in that, kind of, area of the field. Downfield targets, longer targets, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, not going to compete over those. So just got to be careful how you build your stacks in that. But I do like that a lot. And then
we disagree a little bit on that, because I'm not worried about target competition in a game that's going to shoot out. I think they're all going to eat.
I think he's going to do well. I'm not going to say he's not. I'm just saying if you're chasing the Millie Maker, you want to win it all, the highest possible. Maybe you don't.
If you saw my Millie Maker lineup, you'd be like, "That's just weird," and I like that. I want to feel a little queasy when I set that lineup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you shouldn't like your lineup that much. If you think you're going to win the Millie Maker lineup, you're not. So it's just anybody else you're playing, maybe not stacking, or if you're doing a skinny stack in another tournament, is there any kind of maybe unique way to play or approach this game? Are you going Dalvin Cook at anything? Is it kind of be contrarian?
Oh yeah, Dalvin Cook is. I mean, he's amazing. We've all seen him do what he does. The reporters have said that the offensive coordinator for Minnesota has vowed to give him more touches. And I made the joke that it was the offensive coordinator had just got done watching Alexander Madison tape when he said that we have to give Dalvin Cook the ball more. And that's really what we've seen, is that when Dalvin Cook is healthy, he gets all the carries. He makes Alexander Madison completely irrelevant unless he gets hurt. And this is not a great Baltimore defense. They're okay against the run. They're better against the run than pass, but that doesn't say much. This Minnesota team is always going to start their offense with Dalvin Cook, and the receivers get open better when the box is loaded. You have the play action pass. Kirk Cousins is one of the best play action quarterbacks in the NFL. And for all the things he can't do, he can definitely do that. If Dalvin Cook is rolling, everybody's rolling. This Minnesota offense, if they can get Cook established early, they're going to blow up this Baltimore defense.
I love to see that, because then all my players hopefully will be cashing in the points. So that sounds so sexy to me. Let's jump to another game that I actually have some intrigue in here. I really like this game a lot. I want your opinion on it. We've not talked yet about the slates. There's been no coordinating or collaborating or behind the scenes, plotting. So
I've been ghosting you all week. So
you've been, you motherfucker. Now, this has been one of the busiest weeks of the school year, because it is the week you put all your grades in, you do report cards, you do all that stuff. So I've been just getting crushed myself with all the stuff I've had to do. But it's all right. We're here. We made it. We got tomorrow, and we get another fucking hour of sleep tonight. So God bless you. Yeah,
it's the best night of the year, actually.
It's one of my
parents and people that struggle to sleep. It's just nice to be able to push everything back an hour.
Yeah. Hopefully Odell Beckham Jr. is able to sleep tonight, because he won't be playing this weekend in this game. So, he might be a little.
Rumor has it he wasn't playing the whole time.
Yeah.
I love Odell Beckham, and I hope he lands in a good spot with a good quarterback that can find him.
Me too.
Because I don't think he's washed. I just think he wasn't ever a good fit there. He never had good chemistry with Baker Mayfield. And as we know, chemistry is important, but for quarterback wide receiver combination, it's the most important thing.
Oh, by far. And I don't think that his passing style really meshed with him with Odell Beckham. That long lollipop throw.
He was used to like 14 targets a game when Eli Manning was his guy. Yeah. And now he's getting like 5 or 6 because they never throw the ball.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not. I mean, of course, Stefanski didn't bring him in, but you look at the team and the coach and the whole system not in sync. And you're most effective when your team is, like you said, Dalvin Cook running the football, opening up play action, making it so the offense is working collaboratively, not against each other. So, but let's talk about this game. I'm really excited. Joe Burrow has the most touchdowns out of any quarterback on this main slate. He's got 20, and his man, Jamar Chase, has the most receiving touchdowns out of any wide receiver with 7 right now. He is the 3rd highest scoring DraftKings wide receiver. He's only the 5th highest priced. So I like that. There's a little bit of value there. Where are you kind of looking to maximize your value in this game?
Well, I haven't checked the rostership lately. So can you pull up Joe Burrow's? Because
It's not going to be that high, I don't believe.
It's really low. 6,800 is pretty nice. This is it's not exactly the best or optimal play. He's not exactly setting the world on fire with boom rate or anything like that. I think there's just better plays on the board. I'm gonna have a little bit of it, but I'm actually more on Baker Mayfield this week. I think that there's a lot of talk that Baker Mayfield's no good, and a lot of people are going to be straying away from that game in general because it's the Battle of Ohio. There's nothing sexy about it. But I actually like a Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry stack and run it back with Jamar Chase. That's something where you can get involved with this game and play a couple popular guys like Chase, and Landry is going to be extremely popular because of his price and his role. But Baker Mayfield, nobody's going to have Baker Mayfield. I mean, I would be surprised if he even reached that 1% that they're projecting, because 5,400 and the way he's looked this year is pretty bad. I don't think the Bengals are that good. It's just, it comes down to these two teams know each other well, but they traditionally have high scoring games, which is pretty unique in that division. The rest of the teams, when they duke it out, they're just bludgeoning each other into the mud. But when the Bengals and Browns play, it's shootout city.
Well, one reason is for their defenses, they can't stop opposing quarterbacks. So Cincinnati going up against Baker it's a great play for Baker. They rank 27th, giving up about 21 points per game to quarterbacks. And then on the other side, Cleveland is going to give up about 18 points a game to the quarterback. So you're already looking at good matchups for the quarterbacks, which you want to see that, and that's going to kind of portend to evil for the defenses when both quarterbacks kind of are ahead of the defenses. And then you can run the football on the Bengals. And so that you do get that play action that Baker needs to be successful himself, opening up those rush lanes. Also,
Nick Chubb season.
Nick Chubb is big time.
6,700 for Nick Chubb is green flag racing.
Big time.
I've built out about 20 lineups. I'll probably do another 20 before I'm done. But Nick Chubb is one of the most popular picks I have. I'm not afraid of 14% projected rostership with him. I'm actually not as afraid of running back chalk as I am afraid of quarterback chalk or any other position. Running back chalk isn't that bad. Like if you're saying, oh, Nick Chubb at 6,700 is going to be rostered at 14% of the time on the main slate, that's pretty average. It's high, but it's not terrible. You're not going to get killed by Nick Chubb having an average outing. Nick Chubb is capable of putting up more points than anybody. He could bust out a 3-touchdown game against the Bengals pretty easily. This is a smash spot for Nick Chubb because he didn't score last week. He had 61 yards on 17 touches and didn't reach the end zone, but he out-touched Dearness Johnson 17-5. And Dearness Johnson, of course, got the fanfare because he scored the touchdown. But I think that was the first game back from injury, and Nick Chubb's going to get even more work this week. Yeah, I love this matchup. This is going to be a huge game for Nick Chubb.
Yeah, I agree. And he has a 16.9 optimal rate, according to runthesims.com. A nice projected ceiling, too, around 30 points.
Very high.
60. Yes, it's nice too, and even given the fact that he is not a PPR back, if he does get any PPR work, a pass here or there, I mean, it's a boon, So that's baked in without any passing work. He could get a pass here or there too. You saw it last year, so I like him a lot. What do you think about doing a stack with Jarvis and Nick Chubb, and then running it back with Jamar Chase?
Yes.
Yes. Very sexy. Yeah. I mean, you want to, in this game, if this game is going to shoot, you want to identify which quarterback's going to throw the most, run the most, score the most points, and then who those targets and allotment are going to be leaning towards the heaviest. And Jamar Chase is the number one stunner in that offense. And so, I mean, I want to have him. He's only at 7,600. I'm playing him against you in our cash lineup, and he's averaging around 21 points. So if he can get me anywhere from 18 to 20, I'm happy.
Yeah, I think it's obviously a great play for tournaments because he's been so able to find the end zone. He's making big plays every week. What I worry about is his volume isn't very high. And if he doesn't reach the end zone, you could be looking at a massive disappointment. But we haven't seen that yet. So who knows when that first disappointing game is going to happen because he hasn't done it yet. The guy's just been bulletproof. He's either going for 90 to 100 yards without a touchdown, or he's doing both.
Yeah, I mean, he's averaging 20.7 yards per target. So,
really good.
Yeah, that's good. You want that. You want that. Yeah, it's good. He's good. I like the Landry too. Landry at 5,100 is it's a great cash play, and I think it has tournament value as well. I think you have some upside there. He catches you 2 touchdowns and gets it. Good.
He's projecting for such a high points per dollar total this week with that roll. I mean, when they do throw it, it's pretty much like every time you watch, it's going to number 80. He's getting all the targets.
Yeah, I think he has the best optimal rate out of any player on the slate at 22.4%. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. It's saying you need to have him in almost all of your lineups, is what it's saying to me, at least.
Well, at least 22.4 of them.
All of them. All of them. That's what it's telling me. Not all of them, but most of them. And then on defenses, I'm not touching either of these defenses. I don't want to lose all my mojo by getting my defenses, scoring 0 negative points, stuff like that. So, all right, let's jump to our next game. A barn burner, Buffalo visiting Jacksonville. Urban Meyer about to get curb stomped, to borrow one of Big Mouth's favorite phrases here.
Curbing.
Curbing, man. Better than edging, unless you're Cooter Doodle. Shout out Cooter Doodle. There's no edging in this game. Buffalo, I believe, bludgeons them like they were supposed to do to Miami. By the way, they did cover the spread last week against Miami. They played terribly for the whole game, and in the end, they sucked out that Josh Allen rushing touchdown to give them the cover. I don't think it's going to be an issue in this game, even though they're traveling to Jacksonville. Where does this game kind of rank in the not game stacks, but how big this game is going to go? Are they going to shut down Josh Allen? Are they going to keep scoring millions of points? What do you think this game script looks like?
It's going to look just like every other game the Bills play against bad teams. They don't let up. They could have let up pretty easily against Miami, even with a 10-point lead, but they didn't. They went and tried to add one more. And you love that about, for sportsmanship's sake, you don't like to see it. For injury's sake, you're risking your best players' health out there when the game is already decided. But for fantasy players, if nobody gets hurt, this is the best thing we could hope for, is that somebody's getting absolutely shellacked and they don't come off the field in the fourth quarter. They just keep playing till the clock hits 0 and they keep scoring points for you. So the way the Bills have been playing this year, you have to say, hey, we really appreciate you guys and the Rams. When you're beating the life out of a team, you're not letting up until the game's over. Yeah, I love that about good teams that just are like, hey, why would we stop doing this? We got to get better too. Even good teams have to get better. They're trying to put everything on tape that they can to improve their team all 4 quarters.
So here's a question for you. Given that, does it make Gabe Davis intriguing?
Why?
8,500. You see a scenario where at the end of the game, maybe he's on the field. Cole Beasley's injury. The only reason I'm wondering is because of him being questionable. Or do you think it doesn't matter at all?
I think Beasley is independent of Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis hasn't done anything all season. Why would I start believing in him now? Because even when
last week,
yeah, but that was his only catch, wasn't it?
He had 5 targets though. You like seeing that? You want some targets?
Yeah. I don't see it with him this year. He's not playing well. You can say he's one of the dart throws that could possibly do something sometime somewhere, but what we're looking at is a suboptimal play. I'm not expecting much out of him even in this type of matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be a tricky situation too, because the other wide receivers on the team are going to be heavily rostered, particularly Stephon Diggs. He might be one of the highest rostered. So obviously, even though he's priced up, he's still expensive. He has a amazing matchup this week. He might have one of the top 2 matchups this week, according to PFF. So I really am in love with him. How are you kind of putting him into lineups? Are you playing him with Josh Allen exclusively? Are you playing him by himself as a one-off? How are you stacking this or building this kind of Bills build?
I haven't found a lot of places to put him in there. Really, And it's kind of shocking because I love Diggs so much, but this week I'm drawn to other players more. So I don't have very much Diggs, and it might change tonight. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, hey, I don't have very much Stephon Diggs. What gives? He's gonna have a good game, but I mean, like you said, the chalk is gonna be there. His upside's still gonna be there. I mean, I don't think you really necessarily have to force leverage plays like Emmanuel Sanders. Everybody left him for dead after a 0 last week, but before then he was out playing Diggs for the season. Yeah. So who's to say that they don't go right back to Emmanuel Sanders being the top guy? That's always on the table at 5,600. Is you're going to see that he's got a pretty good matchup himself against somebody on the Jag secondary that's terrible, and nobody's going to have him 5%. I thought probably lower than that.
Yeah. No, I like him as a play, and then as a person too. You know, he lost his mother 10 years ago. He hosted a get together for kids who had lost their parents or a parent, and took him to Dave & Buster's. Did a big thing with them this past week, and man, just touched my heart listening to him talk about what a special person he is. You don't make your DFS plays based on personal accolades and things like that, but a great guy, and I like seeing the success he's having in Buffalo. Hopefully it continues this week. I do think he can pick up a touchdown. I think Josh Allen throws for 3 touchdowns in this game, rushes for another touchdown, and Diggs gets a touchdown. And normally I would say Dawson Knox. I don't know if he's going to play. I don't think Sweeney gets a touchdown. So I don't know. Who gets that third touchdown this week? Is it 2 for Diggs? Is it 1 for Beasley, 1 for Diggs, 1 for Sanders?
I think he throws for 2 and then maybe runs for 2, or that. I think if he does throw a third one, it'll be to Zach Moss or something like that.
Yeah. I played Zach Moss against you last week. Not the best play. I realize what I'm chasing, and that is I'm looking for trying to find the nuts. I'm trying to find that 2 touchdown suck out at the end of a game where you jump in, you're but that didn't happen in the Miami game. It was a Josh Allen late suck out, and I think that's the key to, for me, the upside. But I'm not going to chase any of those running backs this week. I'm staying away from them. I am focusing on the wide receivers. Let's build a stack here. How do you want to approach this stack? Well, do you want to have any run back, or just want to be completely kind of a onslaught?
Yeah, don't want to run it back with a whole bunch of Jags receivers. You don't know who's going to be the guy, and they all have a terrible matchup. Buffalo's defense is very, very good. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be chasing any run back there, because if you're running it back, you have to be running it back for a good reason. You don't just do it just say you did it. You want to do it in a game that's going to be 2-sided, back and forth. Those are when you want to run back so you can capture a piece of the action. But this isn't the type of game where you necessarily run back, because there's no optimal matchups for the Jags receivers this week.
Right. No, and given the fact that the Bills defense is one of the best, if not the top scoring defense in DFS, doesn't mean that they're going to do it this week, but they're not. I'm not going to be starting any of the Jacksonville Jaguars with confidence, thinking that if they do, our guy Laviska Shenault, I think he's 4,400. He still scares me. It's still. I don't want White, in his face having a taste. I don't know if he's going to be matched up against him if he moves him around, but it does concern me a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's just a bad matchup for the Jags. They're going to get absolutely destroyed in this game. So no, I would say, if anything, I would do a skinny stack with just Diggs and Allen and leave the rest for other games on this slate. That there's a lot of low totals predicted, like only one game at 50 even, and the rest are under 50. I think there's going to be quite a few overs this week.
Yeah, and I do to say I appreciate everybody who's watching. If you're coming to the show and you're asking start-sit questions for fantasy football, we have other shows that we do this week, and Bo does and I do, that you can join us, and we'll be glad to answer those. This is a DFS show. This is a DraftKings specific show that we talk about, and we're talking about every single game on the slate. So I appreciate everybody who comes and the questions they offer. If it's not DFS related, though, we're not going to be jumping into it. Just an FYI. Still love
Ain't nobody got time for that.
No, we're trying to make us rich, bitch. Last year,
every week.
I scored 261, 261 points. Almost.
This show is about getting a deposit into your bank account every week, not just at the end of the year.
Right.
Every week.
We're chasing that paper, B. You know what I'm saying? So just giving you a heads up. All right. I'm not going to hide the excluded because I did go through here and kind of exclude some people earlier. I don't want to, poison the pot, as they say. Let's talk about this next game. I like this game. This game's a sneaky game. I'm going to tell you some dirty, nasty things I've done to this game, and then you can shit all over it. 46.5. Miami last week get the ball moving at all. They look terrible, but Houston not as good as the Buffalo Bills. So I understand why this number is high. I still think it doesn't get there. What do you think about this game?
I think Houston's going to beat the brakes off of Miami. Miami's terrible. I have no idea how they're almost favored by a touchdown. Houston isn't that bad, and Miami isn't that good. So I have no idea how anybody would bet Miami in this game. It's ludicrous because Tyrod Taylor's back. He looked really good before he hurt his hamstring. Brandon Cooks is going to have a renaissance game. Miami's defense is probably one of the worst in the league. They're at least third worst in the league overall against the run, against the pass. Everything is terrible on that defensive side of the ball. Tyrod Taylor and Brandon Cooks are going to have a massive game. And so I saw your stacks article. I was already had that in mind. I've been watching the projections all week. The chalk on Myles Gaskin is shocking to me, but I guess it's every other week. Only odd numbered weeks he has a good game, and here we are in week 9. So yeah, he'd probably have a solid game, but with that chalk on a guy like him, no way, Jose. And Brandon Cooks only picking up 3% makes me laugh. If anybody in Miami intrigues me, it's my favorite tight end of the week, Mike Gesicki. Jalen Waddle's a solid play too, but he's a little too chalky for my liking. It's gonna be a weird game because I think the Texans are gonna score at will on Miami.
Yeah, I love. This is the dirty, nasty, stinky stuff I've been doing with this game. I have been in my mini max, which is I got 150 bullets to shoot out. I probably made like 60 lineups so far. I've made a few Tyrods stacked with Cooks, and what it lets me do is ridiculous. Like it's like a
dirty, filthy things. Yeah,
it's so scary. Because, like I can't believe the player.
Cooks at 6,100 it's a mid-priced wide receiver, but he's got a ton of upside with Tyrod Taylor there. Tyrod Taylor has rushing upside. He's only $5,000 flat. And it's a great matchup. Everything we're looking at says that it's a great matchup for Tyrod Taylor, and nobody's on him. Like you and I are on Tyrod Taylor, but there's been crickets around him except for us. I guess we're the only ones touting the Texans stack this week because they're projected to have almost no ownership.
This is the thing about leverage, right? You don't just want to leverage for the sake of leverage. I had a great conversation with my partner, Mike Collins, better known as the Ralph Macho on Twitter, half of the Fantasy Millionaires, FF Millionaires on Twitter. We were talking today about how Sal Vetri, one of my favorite guys, he'll give you those plays that are leverage plays. And he was, people are talking about different price zones and people are in. You don't want to just go to a leverage play because it's a leverage play. You want to play the best plays you can, and you want to get the optimal splash rate for that price point that you're paying for whoever you're at, no matter who they are. And so I think what this game gives you is a couple of players who Brandon Cooks, he can definitely 5 max and get you 30 points. And then you have Tyrod Taylor who can 5 max, get you 25 points. If they do something like that and you got 55 points or 50 points from them, the rest of your day is kind of laid out in front of you and you can really build
the studs you're going to put around them are crazy. Like you said, I built out those stacks too, because we're both on this Texan stack as having a big potential blow-up game against terrible Miami defense. I was able to get Kamara and Eckler in the same lineup with Justin Jefferson too. And you spend down a couple other spots and you got like 4 or 5 studs to go with a high leverage, low ownership, low price stack. And that's kind of where if it hits, that's the type of thing that can win you a big GPP and a lot of money.
I'm just going to say this. There may have been a lineup that I made with Tyrod naked, right? It had Tyrod.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw indeed. I'm not sure who the second running back was. I know the first running back was Chase Edmonds. And then my wide receivers were Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, and I believe Justin Jefferson. And then I paid down at tight end. I doubled up on tight end and flex with Conklin and our guy Albert O. And then I went cheap D with the Chiefs. So I kind of sucked it up in that last three.
Stars and scrubs, baby. Stars and scrubs. Man.
And the stars you can put into some of these lineups with Tyrod Taylor, they're just ridiculous. So I would just say he's not the nuts.
You gotta risk it for the biscuit, though. I mean, like we said, if it doesn't make you queasy, it's not a GPP winner.
You know, when I won my 5K and I scored all those points, it was Kirk Cousins who got me there, and no one was on Kirk
and Tyler Higbee and Jordan Reed, and it was disgusting. That lineup made me want to throw up, and it threw up 256 points. So
it's that's what you want. You want you to look at your lineup and go, "What the did I do? Oh my gosh, holy shit!" So I think there's a lot of holy shit in this game that you can play. Your guy Waddle, the thing I do like about him, 3 touchdowns, trending in the right direction for the TDs, and then he's got 49 catches so far. So beginning
Parker's out.
And Parker's out. And so Gesicki, I think, is a better play at 4,900. Yes. But Waddle's viable. He's going to get a lot of short range, not as many air yards. I think Gesicki downfield and red zone. He might get 2 touchdowns if they score, So
and I can already see people who are reading my article and be like, "Hey, where's Kyle Pitts?" I'm like, "Well, Kyle Pitts and Mike Gesicki are very, very similar players. They're averaging the same number of points per game, but Kyle Pitts is $1,000 more than Mike Gesicki, and he's in a worse matchup. So why would I play Kyle Pitts when I can get the exact same thing with a better matchup for $1,000 less?"
That is just highway robbery, and your dog is expressing the frustration. And I like getting those points back for the cheap dollars. I mean, like that's what you need. So I have to make this stack real quick. I forgot to stack it up here. But let's jump into that Atlanta New Orleans game. The second lowest total, 41 and a hook. That little hook just edging out the New England game, right? I think there's only one play in this game for me at all. It might be two plays if you're stacking, and that is my guy Alvin Kamara with the defense. That's it. Yep. That's all I'm playing in this game.
That's the one.
That's the only play that I have in this game.
Yeah, moving on.
Yeah,
I agree. Those are the two plays I'm playing. You can play Kamara by itself. You can play the Saints defense by itself. You can stack them, of course. That's it. That's all I'm looking at.
That's all she wrote.
With so many other great games on this slate, you don't need to waste a lot of time on a low-scoring, turnover-filled battle between Matt Ryan with no receivers besides Kyle Pitts and Trevor Siemian.
I think I'm going to craft a tweet. Is there a worse receiving core in these two matchups? Like in any other matchup, you look at across the board, maybe Cleveland and Cincinnati. Oh, no. Cincinnati's got amazing receivers. You know what I mean? Maybe New England. Carolina has one of the best receivers. So
it's the worst.
It's the worst. It's the
that's the worst one.
Yeah.
You answered your own question. You don't need to tweet about it.
I'll say this though. I stand with Calvin Ridley and all people.
Me too.
Every man, woman, and child who needs mental health help or a break or a rest or support or to deal with their life. Like, please.
What he's doing is pioneering that kind of spirit where it's okay to talk about it. And that's a really important factor in this whole mental health crisis, is that people are afraid to talk about it. And if somebody that famous and that much of a platform is openly talking about it publicly, taking all the shrapnel from the trolls that you could possibly imagine, some of the most disgusting comments you'll ever see on the internet towards him, and he doesn't care. He's going to get his message out saying it's okay, guys.
Yeah. And with his teammate, Hayden Hurst right there, somebody who's a champion of mental health, I would be remiss if, they're teammates. I'm sure they talk at some point.
They talk all the time. I'm sure that those two are great friends, and they of course have bounced these ideas off each other, and everybody has their own shit. Like there's nobody on this planet that isn't going through something. Yeah. And so if Calvin Ridley is going through something and he doesn't feel like he can perform his best in his job because of what he's going through, his best decision is to do exactly what he just did.
Yeah.
But what else do you want the man to do?
Yeah, he was my number 2 wide receiver this year. Picked him to bust out and to just be a killer in that offense, playing off of Pitts. and it didn't happen, and I could care less because I care about him way more than me and my stupid prediction. And I really hope doesn't care about playing football. I just hope he just gets help and nothing bad happens to him.
I just want him to find what he's looking for. That's all. Simply put, I want him to find what he's looking for.
Yeah. Well, this game, the next one, Denver versus Dallas, might be the game that we're looking for. Dak scheduled to play. What do you think about Dak, though? You're the Cowboy insider out of all my friends. I want to know, are they just blowing smoke? Is Dak going to be mobile? Is it going to work? Not mobile like out running around, but out of the pocket, being able to avoid the rush, stepping up, things like that.
I think Dak could have very easily played last week, and he's going to be 100% this week. It's not going to hinder him one bit. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think both defenses are going to be holding us. Both teams are pretty good at running the football. They're both physical teams that like to run the offense through the running back position. I mean, both these teams are actually very similar, except for the big advantage in the passing game between the Cowboys and the Broncos. The rest of this game is like it's going to be deadlocked, except for we hope that Dak's advantage throwing the ball over Teddy Bridgewater is what makes the Cowboys eventually win this game, probably by less than 10. I would probably take Denver against the spread here because I figure it's going to be like a 23-17 type game. But I don't know that this game is what we're looking for because as much talent that's on the field, we're going to have a lot of defensive pushing.
I'm going to counter your narrative. I'm not going to disagree with you and say it doesn't happen. I think, though, that the pace of play that Dallas operates with, I think that they're not going to capitulate to Denver and run Denver's pace of play. I think they'll force Denver to be more like them in this matchup. Yes, they can run the ball with Zeke, but there are some good matchups here to be had. They did just lose Von Miller. I mean, he lost him to injury a couple weeks ago, but they've lost him. Their defense has given up points on the back end to wide receivers. The Hollywood Brown got behind them like a mug. So I'm just gonna say this. I love Amari Cooper's price. It's crazy.
It's insanity.
Ridiculously low.
But let me pump the brakes a little bit. CeeDee Lamb is not 100%. Amari Cooper is not 100%. And Amari Cooper is the chalkiest player on this board.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ezekiel Elliott has 25%.
I think Zeke's going to end up around 20% by kickoff because this Denver run defense is pretty decent. They're terrible against the pass. Yeah. But the health of these wide receivers and Dak concerns me a little bit. So I think they'll lean on their healthier players, which are their running backs. Tyron Smith, their left tackle, is out for this game. So Dak's blind side isn't going to be blocked as well. There's a lot to be concerned about with Dallas's passing game, despite the nice cushy matchup on paper. Is they might not have as easy of a time because last week, even with Cooper Rush, you saw their wide receivers just dominate the Minnesota Vikings secondary. Well, why was that? The Vikings secondary is terrible. Terrible. If Cooper Rush lights you up, that means you're bad.
Rashad Breeland is on their team. You know they're terrible.
Yeah. It's just like if you're playing the Chiefs, you look for Daniel Sorensen. If you're playing the Vikings, you look for Rashad Breeland.
That's how it goes. That's
smart football.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this: both Dak and CD are banged up, like you said.
Yeah.
They missed
and Cooper. Cooper's not. Yeah. Cooper hasn't been 100% all year.
Yeah,
he's still playing out of his mind.
Yeah,
but I'm really worried. Unless I'm doing a massive Cowboys stack here, I'm not going to be too overly exposed to any of these receivers or Dak.
What about Dalton Schultz? Blake Jarwin on IR. Only game in town. Do you think he's got a little bit of play? He's got a nice little ceiling.
Yeah, and actually, I think his price is high enough where, as you can see, 3.3% is very low rostership.
Very low. Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're looking for because, yeah, he was giving way to Blake Jarwin and 12 personnel on occasion. He was getting he started off the season incredibly hot, scored a lot of touchdowns. And the volume is going to be there for him, especially with all the other receivers hobbling around. I love Dalton Schultz for just kind of fitting him in somewhere. I want some pieces of that.
Yeah.
The guy I really want in this game is Cedric Wilson.
Oh, I was going to ask you about that. He's so cheap.
He's so cheap. And We thought Michael Gallup might be ready for this week, but he's not. They did not activate him. So we get one more week of Cedric Wilson running the slot, 3,600. And they don't, I think this base projection was assuming that Gallup was going to be active, and he's not.
Right.
He's the only 100% healthy wide receiver on the team besides Noah Brown, who's just kind of out there to spell receivers that get banged up or just need a breather. Cedric Wilson's on the field all the time, and nobody's going to have him. And every time you watch the guy, he's making a big play.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could be sexy to put Dak, Cedric Wilson together, and not many people will have that.
Nobody will
have that. Yeah, nobody will have that. So,
I mean, look at 1.1%.
Yeah, 1.1%. And then Dak's rostership right now, let's take a look at that. Not very high, only 5%, 5.4%. That's not bad.
That's
what you want. I do like
and
that.
And guess what his price is?
69.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, 69. Denny Carter's favorite number.
I do like Dak. I don't love him this week because, again, there's a lot of other great quarterback plays to be had on the slate. But you got to have a piece of that because as good as Dak is playing this year, he's playing at MVP level. He's coming off the injury. Noah Brown is a hell of a run blocker. That is a great comment because it's true. Noah Brown is kind of like you look out there and you see number 85 run around. He looks exactly like CeeDee Lamb with the helmet and pads on. But when 88 gets the ball, you can tell that CeeDee Lamb is a much better wide receiver at catching the ball. Mm-hmm. But when Noah Brown inevitably catches one pass every other game, you're like, oh, it's CeeDee again. You're like, oh, it's just Noah Brown.
Did you hear me yell out blocking when you were talking? I'm with Coach Craig. By the way, shout out Coach Craig. Thanks for jumping in, brother. I'm building a stack right now. I've got Dak in my stack. I've got Dalton Schultz. I've got a wide receiver. I'm going to run it back with Alberto because that's a cheap run back. What do you think about that? Or should I take the tight end out? What are you thinking about this?
Albert O is going to be so chalky, and he's not 100% either. He has a knee injury. He's still questionable. He was not cleared. Like they still don't know whether or not he's going to play. So everybody excited about Albert O. I love him just as much as everybody else, but he's getting way too popular for a guy who's banged up. If he plays, you can throw him out there a few times in a stack like this. But if he doesn't play, Eric Seibert is the minimum 2,500, and he scored a touchdown last week. And that's a really nice. That's a really nice tight end that nobody's going to have. But Albert's going to have all kinds of exposure if he plays. And so I might pivot off of him. It's there's like you said, Conklin at 3,000, only 400 more. I like Jerry Jeudy to keep building on his role coming back from the ankle injury. The slot receivers are having their way with the Cowboys defense, and Jerry Jeudy is phenomenal. He's not going to be 5,000 for very much longer. I know that.
I'm gonna put him in a stack here. So I'm going to stack attack him. If I can find Cedric Wilson, that's the one I want to do.
He's going to be way down there because they had him. Nobody hit him for like 3 points.
Find him. Here we go. Dak, Cedric. I could take Dalton out and just run it back with Dak, Cedric, and Jeudy. Yeah. What do you think? What would you do?
Yeah,
no,
that's what I would do.
No tight ends for this stack. Yeah, I like it. It's nice when we're simpatico. We're not always there, friends. We're still getting our mojo. But
still bitter about last week. That was embarrassing.
I know. I didn't try to rub it in too much. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's fun.
It seems like whenever you beat me because my literal worst lineup out of all of them I built is the head-to-head one. It just blows my mind that I think out of the 4 losses, 3 of them were my worst lineup of the week, where it happened to be in the clash of the Beards and Bellies. So I just feel like I wouldn't have beaten you last week anyway. I didn't have any lineups that reached that point total, but it was just just disappointing. Like looking at it going, damn, this sucks.
I've been there.
It happens. It happens. If you play as much as we do, you're going to have the amazing weeks where you just want to take all the victory laps. And then you're going to have weeks where you're just like, I'm embarrassed to even go on Twitter because this is ridiculous. It's bad. Like Captain Snowflake for you 3 weeks ago. Like I'm sure you didn't want to be going and like, hey, guess what I did.
I mean, you beat me 9 straight times last year. It was embarrassing by the end. So, I'm just bringing the earnestness this year. That here's what I did. I figured it out. I'm not going to stop in the middle of our show and tell you my life secret, my Tony Robbins. But my schedule now is much better. My life is more stable than now that I'm actually going to work every day. I feel much more at peace with the time I spend doing this and how I do it. And when I do it, it's a better existence. So with that being said, let's jump over to a game I do like a lot as well. LA Chargers visit the Philadelphia Eagles. You're looking at two teams that are run funnels. Ooh, how's this game shape out?
I don't like run funnel games in DFS. I just don't. It's just it has all this build up because you love the Chargers' offensive weapons. You love that the Eagles showed that they ran the ball 4 touchdowns in last week, even though they used the wrong players to do it. It's just this game, I think, is just going to be a big letdown. I love Austin Eckler, but I don't think Keenan Allen or Mike Williams are going to have a huge game because that's what the Eagles defend really well. Outside receivers are not doing well this year against the Eagles. Darius Slay's playing out of his mind. Their other corner, I believe, I can't think of his name, but he's playing really well too. Jalen Mills. They're both playing great coverage. They're playing press coverage all day. Darius Slay is playing out of his mind well because he's healthy. I don't like this matchup for the Chargers. I think they're going to struggle because their running game outside of Eckler doesn't exist. And if Eckler gets off to a slow start on the ground, I think he's going to be fine through the air because that's just what they do.
Yeah.
Steven Nelson, that's the guy.
Yeah. I will pull up, this is from fantasy.nfl.com, one of my favorite websites. Use it every single week. Not an endorsement. I like what my guy Jeff Greenwood says. Not endorsement or not an advertisement. Not yet. Not yet. Wink, wink, wink.
Not sponsored, but could be.
Could be. Yeah. Kind of a big deal. Not a big deal. Could be. Could be a big deal. But if you're looking at their graph here, this is the points given up to wide receivers. Philly gives up the third least.
And look at that.
Chargers
These two guys, two of the top 3.
Yeah. And so what I think that does give an opportunity for is a unique Austin Eckler opportunity, 7,900. I like him this week. And then
duality.
Yes.
Dallas Goedert, Austin Eckler on each side.
I love it. Yes. It's one of my favorite little run back, sneaky tight end running back stacks. I mean, you never hear about those, so
because usually people are they're too enamored with the traditional quarterback wide receiver stack, or even just the running back defense stack.
Yes. And the Chargers are missing their starting quarterback. That is true. I did hear that.
I would be afraid of that affecting them if I didn't think that the Eagles wide receivers are complete trash. Devontae Smith is okay, but he mostly operates out of the slot.
I'm going to be fading the wide receivers in this game. I want the running back. I want the Austin Eckler. That's the guy I'm looking for. I might stack him with Herbert. I might do an Austin Eckler stack. And
I like the Hurts stack better.
Yeah. Tell me about your playing Hurts here. Are you playing him in cash, GPP? How are you approaching him?
Everything.
Everything is on the table.
His the 8.7s only because he had a bad week last week. And a lot of people got that nice little confirmation bias. Oh, yeah, he really isn't very good. I'm like, yeah, but that was the first game he scored under 21 points. So I'll go right back to the well and say I like Jalen Hurts this week because the Chargers run funnel doesn't just apply to running backs.
That's sexy. Here's maybe how you do it. Maybe you stack Jalen Hurts with Goddard and then run it back with Austin.
Bingo.
Yeah,
simpatico again, sir.
Listen. It's scary when we're this close to each other because what happens when
we only match 2 players in the Clash of the Beards and Bellies.
I would just say when we're on it this much, we do win. This happened last year as well. So it's a good time to be nimble and a good time to be Bowman big time. That's all I'm going to say. We have been winning too, by the way. I did bink a little bit of these things called mini maxes a couple weeks last week, the weeks before. I got a couple of those under the belt. So
I thought I was going to match you too on Thursday night because I was in the lead at halftime, and I was still top 10. So I'll say, hey, I got top 10 in the mini max. I didn't win the damn thing, but I could have.
It's impressive. This is what people don't understand. There's 11,000 entries. You got a couple bullets in there. You know what I mean? To win it, you have to have it's like a 1 in a 3,000% or something like that, 0.003%, and then to win it twice, which I've done this year already, it's like 1/10,000%. So I love numbers. That's what Nimble does here over at Nimble W Numbers. So Bo and
I like football.
I do too. I like quantitative though. Like I'll tell you how my brain watches the game like a computer grid. Like when the football is not placed in the right spot where the guy went down and the ball where it's supposed to be by the umpire, upper back. If it's not perfect, I get upset.
I think that's just called OCD, Scott.
It is, but it's because I want every inch of football matters. That's true. The sidelines.
We're gonna cut that short little fragment of that sentence, and just I want every inch. There you go. If anybody's splicing that audio, I would like that, please. Yeah. Scott saying he just wants every inch.
Yeah, I should say mine now. I will say this. I did just get done watching season 5 of the Kroll-inspired, Nick Kroll created Big Mouth on Netflix. Shout out Nick Kroll. You might know him from The League. You might know him from the Kroll Show. Yeah, I mean, that dude is the fucking man. He's my number one seed, by the way. If you ask, like, who do you want to follow you on Twitter or who do you want to one day, like, meet and talk to for a minute or two in all of sports entertainment, every athlete, it's Nick Kroll. Dude is a genius. To bring all the people together to make this show, it's not just a stand-up routine. It's not just him. This is hundreds of people coming together. He created jobs for people, created roles. It's awesome. So I fuck with it. Already watched the whole first season last night. I'm already halfway through the season again, the 5th season again. Yeah. I'm watching it the second time already.
I'm through episode 3 or 4. So I'll probably finish it this weekend, and it's so good. The show is genius.
No Nut November, the first episode. They're already talking about edging. It's so funny.
But it's all like as crude as it is, as dirty as it is. It's all real life stuff that every single teenager goes through.
I mean, everybody in their life splooges a bunch. I mean, it's like
maybe not in their friend's parents' living room, but
Andrew Glauberman, you mother. Yeah, that was one of my.
Who didn't see that one coming?
But we all did. We watched it on the show. We saw it coming.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite scenes because as he's coming, everyone's looking at him and he's just like, "Oh, yeah." Oh. Yeah. So, I've never done that in a friend's, living room watching Doubt before, but
what are you doing? You need to watch Doubt.
Right. I mean, the scene before Glenn Close's character was saying, "I'll catch you with those children, Father." So I mean, it's just not made for sex. No. A creep in the show. Voiced by John Mulaney, who does it perfectly. John Mulaney should get an Emmy for this. I mean, he just is so funny. So anyway, diatribe over. Let's jump to 2 more games, and then we're going to get into the Occupy Fantasy lineup builder for the Millie Maker, and then we will get into our DFS head-to-head clash of the Beards and Bellies. So let's talk about this game. This game, we've got some injury issues. We've got COVID issues. We've got quarterback and walking boots. What's going on here?
A lot of question marks that still haven't been answered, and that this game worries me a lot. I have a couple guys I really like that are healthy, but overall, it's a scary game to want to play because they already played again played this season before, and it was a 17-10 game. So this 45 total with all the uncertainty with injuries and otherwise, I really don't like playing this game. But I do want some pieces. George Kittle's back. Mm-hmm. Rondale Moore is due for some regression back to the average. He's had a couple slow weeks. The best play on this The best play on this board for this game is Chase Edmonds. 5,300 is an amazing price for a guy that gets his volume. And of course, he finally scored a touchdown last week. So the Jacoby Myers of running backs finally scored his touchdown last week. I think Chase Edmonds is due for more touchdowns, especially with his receiving volume. If Colt McCoy's the guy instead of Kyler Murray, I think this gives Chase Edmonds an even bigger upgrade because Colt McCoy loves checking the ball down.
He's king of the check down. He can't throw the ball very far. He's got a noodle.
He played behind Alex Smith for a couple of years, so that should tell you something.
When they played catch, they stood like 5 feet away from each other.
They played pepper.
They just tossed it back and forth like
they were playing hacky sack.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, Alex Smith couldn't stand for a while, so it was rough going for a bit. But anyway, he's back. I will say that in this game,
look at that optimal rate though for Chase Edmonds at 9.4. I think I'll take that and run with it.
Look at the optimal rate though, because not many people are playing him. His projected ownership. Oh, it's just so sexy. So yeah,
28-point ceiling too.
Yeah, I'm going to say too, Rondale Moore and Chase Edmonds are my only plays from the Cardinals. And then on the other side, if Debo doesn't go, if he's not playing, and he's been questionable, he's been dinged up,
Ayuk
at 4,100 is a great play, but just monitor that.
I'm playing him regardless. I'm playing him regardless.
He's good.
Because here's the thing. If you're a DFS player, if you want to be a good DFS player, sometimes it's as simple as recognizing patterns. Brandon Ayuk's DK price is falling. His production, his snaps, his routes run, his targets are rising. That's what we call a great pattern to have in fantasy football and DFS. And at 4,100, gosh darn it, I want a lot of that.
Yeah, and he's not even on the screen. Nobody wants him.
I don't care.
Nobody loves him.
I do.
No, I'm saying
he's a stud. The only person that really hates him is Kyle Shanahan, and even he's warming up to him.
Well, if you look down here, here he is. He's at 0%. If you,
I like that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's
like that.
That's leverage right there. You like that? So
that's massive leverage because if we remember, just to the second half of last season, think about all the rookies last year. Some of them played well from the jump, like Justin Jefferson. But a lot of the stud running backs didn't play well to the second half. A lot of the stud wide receivers, Ayuk included, didn't play well to the second half of the season. Ayuk has been kind of in the doghouse, not for performance things, just for like work ethic things. Like I think his personality, he's so insanely talented that I think he tried to just kind of finesse his way through training camp. Didn't work, didn't push himself as hard as he could have to get ready for the season. And coaches don't like that. If you've ever been a football coach, you don't like low effort guys, even if they're your best player. You don't want to see them going through the motions because it's a big red flag that you can't count on them. You can't trust them.
Yes, the Bryce Harper effect, as they say.
The Bryce Harper effect, the Allen Iverson, even back in his prime, would roll out of bed and score 35 points, but it looked like he didn't care. He did care. You just didn't get that read from him. And it comes down to Ayuk is so good. We saw him play phenomenally well with nobody at quarterback last year for San Francisco. And Brandon Ayuk he's too good to ignore, especially on the trend that he's rising on.
A sack of potatoes was playing quarterback last year. Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm with you. And I think he's a nice sneaky play. And then you said Kill's coming back to 5,100. Not bad. And then, I mean, I'm not touching anybody else. That is.
Yeah, this game could be another 17-10 stinker.
It's not going to be a heavily rostered for me, at least. Let's talk about the last game on the slate here. Bring the world's sexiest DFS shows.
Thunder.
Walk on the slate walk. We
make
the little pigs on the slate walk. So -7 for Kansas City at home. Total 48. This is a weird line here. Well, I have questions.
It's a weird game. It's a weird game.
Answers. Yeah, here. What are we thinking about this Aaron Rodgers list. By the way, he got dropped by one of his sponsors today. He's been working with him for 9 years.
It's a medical sponsor. What do you expect? He took a pretty strong stance against the medical community yesterday. So I think this was a long time coming.
Listen, when you take Flintstone vitamins and then you tell people your immune is, whatever that means, then you have the backlash coming. I like how he brought up that he was canceled, that it was a witch hunt, and that woke mob culture had come for him.
Bingo.
Listen, it's not
bingo.
Woke mob
I got a bingo. I got a bingo.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to judge the guy for his personal choices, even though he did put a lot of people in jeopardy by basically lying to the whole team. But that's their business. And I'm focused on the football field, and he's not available to play. He broke the rules, and he's taking his punishment. And it's what's going to happen here is we have Jordan Love, who has never started an NFL game. His last start was as a member of the Utah State Aggies in the Mountain West Conference. And I think we know another Mountain West quarterback by the name of Zach Wilson, who didn't fare so well in his first few starts in the NFL. This Jordan Love situation is a little iffy for me. 4,400 is a very enticing price. I don't think anybody's going to have a good tab on how many people are going to roster him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. That 4,400 is such a punt. All he's got to get is 16 points, and you're, at least in cash, you're good to go. And then you've got all those other weapons that you may be able to load up on. But what about?
Don't you just love Tyrod Taylor more?
Oh,
600 more.
Yeah. Oh, way more. I wouldn't go down here. It's not optimal. It's suboptimal if you want to,
Well, yeah, his optimal rate's 1.9%.
It's suboptimal. I'll say this too on the side of Mahomes. And this is something I've been listening to people, and I didn't come up with this myself and pretend like I diagnosed him. But Travis Kelce has not been himself. He has been injured. He has been banged up, and it's been a detriment to this offense. They are not the same offense right now than they have been. Tyreek Hill is the only weapon that they can rely on, and maybe getting Derek Gore involved. That was good for them. But I'm staying away from Patrick Mahomes at his price. I am. Yeah.
Can I go to monologue here, because what you're saying is completely ridiculous. We've been agreeing the whole show, but this is the breaking point. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback play on this board.
Talk to me about it. I want to hear why.
He has the highest upside. He's 7,800. If anytime you see Patrick Mahomes, the player, under 8,000, you must play him. And he's trending under 10% rostership. You must play him. If he's going to have this, he's still Patrick Mahomes. This Packers defense is terrible. They're not good. Don't try to get me started on, the Chiefs are bad. It's like, yeah, they're bad because their defense sucks. They're bad because they took a couple games to adapt to too deep coverage. They adapted last week and won the football game just by taking what the defense gives them. And Andy Reid will always take what the defense gives them. And lately, it's just been more underneath stuff to Tyreek Hill. And when Kelsey's banged up, of course you're not going to target him as much because he's not moving around with a neck stinger. It's going to be tough sledding for him. But with the way this is panning out, is I can't find a better stacking situation. It's gonna cost you so much to get. Nobody's gonna be touching anybody but Tyreek. But I want Tyreek. I want Travis Kelce at 7,000 flat. I want Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to run it back with Aaron Jones because he's a massive upside play this week. This is my favorite game to stack because nobody wants the Chiefs right now, and I freaking love it.
I will say this, devil's advocate. I did write about them in my stacks article this week for Sports Gambling Podcast, so I'm not totally against them. It's expensive. I'm fading.
Perfect.
I'm fading Kelce myself over Tyreek Hill. If I'm going to choose one of those, I'm not going to put both of them in. But if I'm choosing one, it's Tyreek Hill. I just think
my second mortgage stack is all three, is the double stack, and with Aaron Jones. So I'm spending a fortune to get those four players in a stack because I think they're all going to put up huge numbers, and nobody's going to have all four of them. And then there's so many great value plays this week. It's like, yeah, normally you wouldn't have enough value plays to go around if you spent that much on 4 players. This week you can. There's so many great players that are under 4,000 this week that you can get away with it. And yeah, it makes you a little queasy because how the Chiefs are playing lately. Build that stack. I want to see Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey, and Jones. And yes, it's expensive. That's why I called it the second mortgage stack. I also second mortgaged your house to get that stack. Mine and yours. We're in this together.
It might be the most expensive stack I've ever seen on the show.
You're right. But look at the upside. 82.8 projected.
I think Aaron Jones at 7,200 is an excellent cash game play. I like him for tournaments as well, but I mean, he's
still trending at under 10%. He's under 10% still.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's nuts in the butts, as they say.
But that's crazy enough to be like, oh shit, why didn't we try this?
Big Nate in the house. I gotta say, there's some good people. We got Nate. We got
Dog.
Greg was in here. Gemmo stopped by earlier. I gotta say, I do
shout
appreciate
out Gemmo, the icon.
The icon himself was in here. We
love the icon. This is a pro icon show.
Icon, I mean, dude, listen, I messed around with the dude. He encouraged me from the beginning, and it's his fault for these, So
yeah.
That guy, he's cool. He's the motherfucking man. I love him.
Every time you put those shades on, I think of Gemmo. So that's a great payout of homage to Mr. Papa over there in Chicago. Or no, he's in New England now. He lives in New England. So
yeah, I love that guy. I will say, we're ready to run the Sims. So let's generate some lineups here and see what we got. Okay. Oh man. Oh, we've got some sexy lineups. Let's look at this first one here. Oh my gosh. Lamar Jackson, Austin Eckler. I love it already. We've got Chase Edmonds. Okay.
Can you just lock that one in right now? Because I might already have that one. I think I do have that lineup.
Jarvis Landry, Justin Jefferson, Mark Andrews, a double stack with Lamar, Tyler Conklin, and the Kansas City. That is sexy. That's fire sexy. That might be my favorite one. If you look down here, there's a lot of Lamar.
I'm pretty sure I have that exact lineup on the top.
The first Jalen Hurts lineup is pretty good too. Jalen Hurts, Aaron Jones, Chase Edmonds, Brandon Cooks, Kadarius Toney. And then Jarvis Landry, Mark Andrews, Marquise Brown in your flex. So you get yourself 4 wide receivers, all in that mid price range from 6,000 to 6,100. I mean, that is delicious. Aaron Jones is in there too. So I gotta say, guys, if you do not have Run the Sims, there is a link down there in the description in YouTube. Please check it out. Get a free account, sign up. If you want to pay for this like I do, you can do that as well. This stuff is dynamite. We run the Sims every week. They've been helping us win money. I've been winning money. Bo's been winning money. So do check them out. Any other lineups that you notice on here, Bo, that you just you want me to explore? There's Daniel Jones down there.
Yeah, that's a nice one. Can you roll back to the top? I'm gonna see. I'm gonna check that real quick.
Bo might have already generated that one himself by hand.
Yeah, I'm checking it. I had a couple of differences, but yeah, it's the same bones.
It is sexy as, I won't say fudge. You can. And over here, you can kind of look at the player breakdown, look at your max, what your average are, kind of what you're thinking, and how it all works. I love Run the Sims. Do check them out. They are the tits.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think
one of the best tools I've ever used.
And my guy Justin Freeman is just one of the nicest people ever. I love that guy as a person. So do check him out. So I do love all the spamming that comes from the show that are asking start sit questions. I would roll into a start sit show.
Pretty sure those are
we're DFS all the way, baby.
Yeah, I think Mark Andrews is pretty darn optimal. So do they. I'm all over that.
Yes.
That's beautiful. You see a little bit of Waller in there, a little bit of Jarrett Cook. I'm not on Jarrett Cook this week as much as other people. But yeah, Conklin and Andrews for sure. I'm surprised I don't see as much Mike Gesicki down there a little bit lower, you can. He's my favorite play. But yeah, Andrews is up there with the best tight end plays on the board. Alberto, of course, I think he's just too chalky at this point for his condition that he's in. But that's such a good start to the that top lineup is so sexy. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. No, it is just it is a sexy stack. So this week on the world's sexiest DFS show. For now. Let's jump over. That was sponsored by Run the Sims. Let's jump over to our Occupy Fantasy. We're going to build the Millie Maker lineup right now. I've got it over here on DraftKings. I've already got my screen pulled up, ready to roll. Make it a little big. Please check the individual. It's for me and Bo. We're going to try to split it and then live happily ever after. You know? So, yeah. Thank you. I do have a raspy voice today.
It's got great timbre.
Yes, you're watching Movie Phone with Scott Simpson. Let's talk about you've not built any lineup. Oh no! That's Pablo Francisco. That guy. Yeah. All right, he's one of the funniest people ever. So let's talk about where do we want to start. Who do we want to put in the QB spot? How crazy do we want to get on this build?
Let's see. There's a couple guys I really gotta play, but you have the same guys, so I'm thinking if we spend up at quarterback, it's probably gotta be Lamar. Even though he's chalky, we can get different in other places. I really don't want to miss out on that game. So if we kind of center most of our exposure around that game, I think I'll be happy with anything we do.
So here's a question. If you're looking at the Occupy Fantasy tool that we're using, this is the lineup builder. I also work for Occupy Fantasy, not raining in the big bucks over there yet, but you can sign up for Occupy Fantasy down in the link below too. I love their optimizer that they're using to help us build this lineup. It gives us the ownership share to help us get unique with our stacks. If we want to double stack, there's different tools we can look at as well. So let's look at this. It comes down to me. It's the top three here in their value meter, right? You've got an index here over in this side here that with the kind of the edge to kind of give you a sense of where that ownership is going to be, and then also where the value is. 1.1% for Tyrod. This just so differentiates us. Like that's the thing. It so leaves us by ourselves that I want to do it. I want to do it. Talk me off doing it because
it's going in the Millie Maker, right?
Yes,
we're gonna be two of the only people that have Tyrod Taylor in the Millie Maker.
That's fine. I want that.
200,000 entries. Out of 200,000 entries, there's gonna be a few Tyrod Taylor lineups, but we're gonna have a lot of them.
We're gonna have the best one. And let's talk about the stack. Let's go put Brand because you got to go big or go.
Yep.
Here for you to do that.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna sneak right over here. One thing I love about this tool is that you can just jump in here and you can go anywhere. Go to the team. You can sort by the player. Whatever you want to do.
Occupy is so I'm showing user friendly.
Scott's just not the best user. 4.4% too. So our first stack is at 5.5% ownership, and that's crazy. I mean, that's not what you
know. What I did though is I did that stack, and then I put in my defense just to see what the remaining salary per player was, and it's nice.
It's very nice. Right now we're at 5,557, but we're going to drop down. Do you want to go running backs and put our running backs in? Do you want to go wide receivers? How do you want to kind of attack this? Because we want to get back to that game we talked about earlier, the Justin Jeffersons, the Hollywoods, the Mark Andrews. How do we get back there?
Yeah, I think we do want to go there. In this case, I want to fill out everything. It's because we're going to be able to spend up at running back pretty well because those receivers still aren't going to cost very much. Like the guys we want are pretty good. I think you can go and plug in both Jefferson and Marquise right now.
Okay, I'm going to put them both in. And the ownership 6.7%, not bad,
Not for his upside.
No, and then, I mean, where's Brown at? Right? You think Brown's going to be there?
Brown's towards the top of the index, but not for.
Only 11%. That's surprising for me as well. Okay, so now we're down to 580, but it's still in the 5,000 range, which is really good. It means we're going to be able to get some good running backs. Yeah, not a problem. Let's go get one of those good running backs. Let me actually go up a lot further. Erase the Brown. There we go. All right, everything's on the table. We can get anybody we want. Do you want to go paid down a little bit and go with Chase Edmonds?
Yes. And can I take the liberty and say I want Nick Chubb?
I was going to say that. Yes, Nick Chubb as well. I'll put the Chubber in.
Because what that does is it gives us quite a bit of leeway once we plug in tight end and defense to get another stud at flex.
Oh, yeah. Let's take a look at the defense first. We can see the Chiefs are the cheapest. They're also the most rostered and owned. Now, we only have a 50% rostership. We could do – we're as chalky as we want now. The chalk does not need to be blocked, right?
Saints.
I do like that. Let's go, and we're going to do the pricing here because I know the Saints are at 37%, 2%, so that's not bad at all. Now we're at $9,700 left, and we've got two spots. Tight end. Let's take a look at the pay down. You want to go to Conklin here?
Yeah, why not?
If we go to Gesicki, we have less money.
Right.
If we go to Conklin, though,
I guess it kind of depends on what tier price that we land in for that flex, because there's some great targets in each tier. We just want to make sure that the right one is in our lineup. Let's start with Conklin, see how much we have left and who's there.
Yes. Oh, no. Okay, here we go. I'm going to scroll down. We're out of this first page. We're into the second page. And so we are at Keenan Allen. That's where we can first start. And then we can go down. Should just change it to flex. Let me just do that. So it's getting rid of the quarterbacks. Yeah. Yeah. So here we are. We're at 6,200. I wonder if taking care of the quarterbacks did move us out a little bit. Let me go back to the first page now. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. All right. Keenan Allen. We've got Cordero Patterson is there. What do you see? Anybody interested you here? You want to jump to the next page? Tell me what you're thinking.
Darren Waller.
Oh, we have Darren Waller. Do we have him there?
Yeah, he's right there at the bottom.
Oh, my gosh. All right, let's take a look here.
Because nothing says value like a guy coming off an injury and then a bye week.
Oh my goodness, we've got all the dice.
Too.
Here, all the dice. That's what you want to be, especially for the Millie Maker build. So we've got Tyrod Taylor, Chase Edmonds, Nick Chubb, Brandon Cooks, Justin Jefferson, Marquise Brown, Tyler Conklin, Darren Waller. Now here's the thing: we have $500 more. Now we can go back and look and see, is there anybody we want to pay up to get that we
go to running back and see if we can upgrade Edmonds, because I think he's a better cash player than a tournament player.
Yeah, let's check.
Especially in that smelly game.
Yeah, smelly cat for sure.
What are they feeding you?
So we're gonna have 5,800 if we do that. So we're in the they're including flexes. Let's get that out of there. So 5,800 is going to give us a range of Elijah Mitchell out of skin. Can we get Gaskin? Yeah.
He's so similar.
Gaskin and Elijah Mitchell.
I'd rather have Edmonds. Edmonds and Gaskin are like
I think so too. And you know what? And then leaving this money on the table also gives us a little differentiation as well.
Yeah, if there's nobody's gonna have this lineup, I know that. So we won't have to split anything.
Yeah, we'll just take it. Well, me and you won't have to split it. We will. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So unfortunately, it's gonna have to be for my account.
This might be our craziest GPP build we've ever made on the show.
It might be, but it might also pay off the biggest.
Here's hoping.
Yeah, of course. We do have some good plays in here, though, that I think really do just the upside is there. That's the thing. The upside is there, and that's what we're chasing. We're chasing that upside. So,
it's got a lot of stink on it.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's got some definite stink on it. That you want it to have the stink. It's a sexy stink. So, I'm just saying.
Yeah, this lineup eats clay and doesn't bathe.
No, this is not a vaccinated lineup. I just want to be clear about
it's not circumcised either.
Oh no. Well, speaking of Jay Bilzerian, Victorian, woo!
Oh my god,
that was one of my favorite reveals. Was his middle name is Rick Flarian. It's just
it's like Lola's a Fuglio.
Oh,
the patron saint of sausage and peppers.
I mean, that's just one of my favorite ones ever. These my sausage and peppers. Okay, where's D Waller? All right, there we go. All right, so I'm putting it in 20. Cook and the D. Lock and load, throw it in. Let's win $1 million. I love it. And is it in? Nope. Do it. I like this lineup so much too that I'm also going to dump it into. This is 100K to first, so we want to win that too. And I'm only single entries. I'll do that too. So we put it into $35 worth of money, and so if we win it all, we'll win $1 million and change, and then we'll have so much money that it'll be great. So, all right, last thing we got to do before we get out of here, and that is talk a little bit about our head-to-head. So, Bo, I'm gonna let you read yours. Clash of the Beards and Bellies. We are all square. I'll let you take it from there.
All square. For some reason, the last couple of weeks have gone terribly wrong in my head-to-head contests. Some of my worst lineups have been rolled out in my favorite format lately, and it irks me. Simpson's lineup was great last week, but it didn't have to be. Aside from my studly running backs and Jamal Agnew, my team decided to take the week off. Oh well. We're 4-4 now, and I'm steaming mad. I'm still pissed, by the way.
I know.
I figure it will take another 8 weeks for Scott to drop another 174-point lineup on me, so I'll focus on myself. I hate losing more than I like winning. I love Scott more than I hate losing, but I genuinely hope I destroy him this week to remind him who I am.
I'm not gonna forget.
and these running backs look familiar, don't they, Scott?
Oh my! I may have seen some of the and a couple of the receivers too.
Yeah, this is, strikingly similar to how I've been playing. A couple safer floor plays like Hunter Renfrow, but plenty of upside, just like we saw with our GPP build. I'm banking on my guys. My guys let me down last week, but some of my calls that were out of left field were the ones that hit, of course. And then that's been the theme of the last 2 weeks they beat me on, is that my most surefire can't miss plays are the ones that miss for me, and the ones that I'm taking complete flyers on are the ones that are crushing it. But this week I'm still sticking to my guns. I'm sticking to my process, and I'm putting my guys in there.
I like your guys. I like Gasecki. Like me. I had not looked at your lineup. I waited and did mine. We don't have that many similarities, but we do have, right off the break, our quarterback stack is the exact same. We both went Hollywood. We do love Hollywood. Tell me about your projection for Hollywood. Where do you think he ends? Is it in the 20s? Is it high teens? Where are you at with him?
I think his floor is a lot higher than people is higher than people realize. He had 14 targets last week. And of course, his ceiling is massive because Lamar Jackson is amazing. But what it comes down to is he's going to score between 15 and 35. And I'm hoping for the 35 for both of us, really. But when it comes down to it, I want this game to just go bonkers, high scoring on both sides. I want all kinds of offense in this game. It's just so much fun to watch a game that both teams are scoring in. Everybody loves a shootout. Makes for good television, makes for good fantasy totals. This is the game this week. I want to see fireworks on both sides. And so that's why I put Jefferson in there too. I want to see the best players make the best plays and score the most points.
I agree. And I like that Justin Jefferson play. That might just be the end of me. Here's what I did. I went a little bit more traditional with my lineup when it came to the studs paying up running back. You normally do that. You get the Derrick Henry play. You get the Kamara play. I did a little different. I went Lamar, same as you. And then I went Austin Eckler. He's got a really good matchup against Philadelphia. He scored over 20 points or 22 points 5 out of 7 weeks. That's dependability in cash. You want that. So I got him there. I got Alvin Kamara, one of the best matchups against Atlanta. Atlanta's terrible. They give up points left and right, receiving touchdowns, rushing touchdowns. They're not good. And so I think Kamara is their offense this week. So I like that play. And then you got Brown. I got Chase, Landry, Conklin, and then my guy, I got to pay down $2,600 just to get all my studs in. Albert O. I'm not going to say this correctly. You correct me. Is it Albert Okawugabanam? Is that right?
It's Okwuegbunam.
Ekwegbunam. Okay. All right. I was trying to pronounce it. I'm not going to be somebody who doesn't try. You always try to pronounce someone's name. I respect them. If you get it wrong, they'll correct you. And then you say,
just don't be lazy.
No, not at all. And don't be demeaning in the tone you use. Always respectful tone. As a teacher, that's one of the things you learn right away is you say people's names and you learn their names so that you can communicate.
Okwegbunam.
I love it. And we both have the Chiefs D. So let us know in the comments who you think is going to win. If I do win, it'll be 3 in a row. I've never done that to you, Bo. That will be new frontiers. You'll have to go into the wilderness and shame and repent. Something. I don't know.
It's not going to happen, Scott, so you can dream all you want.
I can't wait. This is going to be one of my favorite weeks. I got to stay up and watch Big Mouth last night. We get an extra hour of sleep. I'm going to go watch the Kamaru Usman fight right now. Maybe Justin Gaethje's still on. I just want to say for the record, I hope Kamaru Usman kicks Colby Covington's ass. He will. I hope he does so bad. He knocks him out. And it's because Colby Covington, I know he plays the heel and he wants you to hate him and all that kind of stuff, but
it's just a character.
It's just a character. I get it. But you don't mess with Kamaru Usman. That's all I'm saying. You don't mess with him. That guy is not somebody to mess with.
The guy does no nonsense whatsoever.
No, not at all. Thank you.
Classic. Yeah. Usman is the classic. I'm a fighter. I'm a warrior. I'm nothing else. If I die in the ring, I don't care.
I will end you.
That's who Usman is. He is the guy who wants to just be a warrior, and that's his whole life, is fighting.
No, I love it. I hope he knocks him out. I will say this. Shout out to Sal Pal. I've not revealed this yet, but I will reveal it now. Sal Pal sent me underdog shirt. Underdog. So I love that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you everybody who did come to the show. Craig, and Craig. Appreciate all. Craig, Nate, Gemmo, and for everybody who is a real person who wants to start Sit Advice, hit us up. We actually every Tuesday I let people know. Let me know who your start sits are. I do a show for the Mayo Media Network. Check it out over there. You can listen to it. There's 30,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. Please check out the Mayo Media Network. Pat Mayo is the man. Love him. Pete Overzet's over there. LQ's over there. Stepmom Lauren's over there. Tyler. It's a whole bunch of people over there. Please do.
Coach Craig is rooting for me, by the way.
I saw that. I was not giving him any attention. I didn't want it, Boo, boo. I'm thinking of Princess Bride when Princess
Bride this man.
And this old lady comes out and goes, damn.
Yeah, well, Coach Craig is one of the smartest people I know, and I won't let him down.
You know what? I hope Craig is one of those rare moments when he has to, go back to the drawing board and pick a new side. We appreciate everybody
I think
watching.
he's objectively looking at our lineups and making a conscious choice.
That's a smart man there. Bo, besides over at Nimble W Numbers, where, by the way, if I can scroll up, my mouse was working previously, but now it's decided to not work because the real mouse is over at Bo's house, so that's a secret.
It's in a very safe place.
Yeah, but we have content over there. Besides the one that you've written, and that is the hot cash from the King of Spice. Do check that out, and then Nimble GPPs to get you paid. Where can people find you elsewhere?
So I am the DFS staff writer for ballblastfootball.com. So check it out. Go join the Blastronauts crew. The $10 tier and above gets all access to DFS and betting on ballblastfootball.com. I'm doing 3 primetime showdown slate articles a week. And of course, my massive main slate article dropped today. So check out everything there. We're winning all kinds of money for our patron members. Our Patreon members are raking in the dough at Ball Blast. So don't miss out on an easy chance to win, because it's pretty much all the work I do goes into that site. And of course, the cash games here, it's so much fun to be able to break down what I love to do most, which is the cash games, especially head-to-heads, giving you the tools, giving you the keychain. Just got to put them in the right locks at the right time, and you'll win.
Yeah, I do love it. Please check out Bo. Follow him over there at Bo_McBigTime. Follow Ball Blast, IBT Media. He's crushing it everywhere. I do love me some Bo. Sports Me app. Check out. We argue every week about who's going to be the winner over here in our matchup. So please do jump in there as well and get on that app. And we appreciate everybody. Oh, rooting for a tie here. You want to kiss your cousin, huh?
Boo.
I see. Okay.
I
hope no tie.
Craig Reith needs to realize that somebody has to win and there has to be a loser so we can ridicule him mercilessly for an entire week.
Yeah, which I didn't do for you. So just remember that when you beat me. So,
Yeah, it's okay, though. You could have.
I know. I've got a few extra stuff I'm going to give you a hard time on tomorrow. So I've got some saved memes and pictures, video. Yeah, I'm saving it for Sundays. But I was going to let people know. Oh, don't forget when you watch. But do check us out. We do appreciate you. Follow us, subscribe. We also have a Patreon ourselves over here.
Yeah.
I got some premium tools. Yeah, we're releasing lineups very soon. But do check us out here. Oh, they've updated their terms of service. Check out Nimble W Numbers Patreon. We are posting lineups for GPP and also for cash games. Win you some mucho dinero.
These are,
that's all we have.
I'm pretty much. I'm not building out 150 lineups like Scott is every week. So most of the lineups that are on the Patreon are the lineups I'm just straight out putting on DraftKings myself. I don't really have a lot of time to put out even more lineups than I create for Patreon. So if you want to get inside what I'm actually doing and winning with, the Patreon's a really nice, cheap, and easy way to take all the work out of it because I already did it for you.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I do create 150 lineups for myself, but I create exclusive lineups for Patreons as well. So I'm a lineup machine, all hand built. I do use the optimizers to get some good lineups, but then I do build out from those core players that we identified earlier in the show. So thank you so much for jumping in and being a part of this. Craig is a Patreon. I appreciate that, Craig. Love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Twitterverse and on the slate. And when you win, show us your stubs and let us know, man. We want to hear your splash in the pot.
Get to cashing, folks. Get to cashing.
Get to cashing. That's a great ending to the show. I can't say any better. Get to cashing.